Flanagan, the lieutenant governor, endorsed by Bernie Sanders, endorsed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and endorsed by the retiring Senator Tina Smith, defeating Angie Craig, now is going to be the nominee against Michelle Tafoya, the longtime sports reporter from NBC Sports, Sunday Night Football, is going to be winning the Republican primary. How do you see that race?
Yeah, well, I think it's really exciting. It's a huge win for the left right now. Peggy Flanagan is the lieutenant governor. She's an amazing leader. I think she's going to be a great addition to the Democratic caucus. I think Republicans are going to have a hard time beating her. I think the Republicans are in a really tricky situation in Minnesota. They were celebrating when Governor Walz announced his retirement, and they're rewarded with Amy Klobuchar, who's very likely going to be the next governor. And she is a very savvy, brutal operator politically. You have to have a lot of respect for the grit that she brings to it. And then Donald Trump suffered a terrible loss in the primary because he endorsed the My Pillow guy, Mike Liddell, and he's finished in second place. Right now, Liddell's on the internet talking about how the election was rigged against him. So I feel like you have a massive mess for the Republicans. You have a good situation for the Democrats putting their best foot forward. And I think Peggy Flanagan and Amy Klobuchar are going to do great.
But Mike, wouldn't you rather run against Mike the Pillow guy?
I would, but I'll take any opportunity to remind people that Donald Trump is a lame duck and his grip on the Republican Party is loosening.
Lonnie Chen, I know you're looking especially closely at what's happening right now in Wisconsin, which is the race that we still do not know who is going to win. David Crowley has a very small lead right now, about 3,885. So that's gone up a little bit since we looked at it the last time. So literally in the last few moments, that's gone up, which is good news for him because it was getting pretty close. She still has a chance to win if she wins big in the late numbers. We still got, thousands of votes still to be counted. How do you see this race?
Well, I think the question is always, to what degree are races like this nationalized? To what degree do they become part of the broader discussion around what's happening in our politics, control of the Congress, even though this is a governor's race? And I think in that way, it looks like both Democrats and Republicans have something positive to draw from tonight. I think in Wisconsin, if David Crowley is able to hold on, they're going to have dodged the bullet of Francesca Hong, who I think would have been a big lead weight on a lot of Democratic candidates around the country. Her ideas, as recently as a few years ago, as recently as a few weeks ago, would certainly, I think, have haunted a lot of Democratic candidates. In the same way for Republicans in Minnesota, look, avoiding Mike Lindell is a good outcome for Republicans because you would not have to deal with the kinds of things that he would say. To the degree that that race would be nationalized, it would be a problem for Republicans, I think. So the nationalization of our politics means that you have these candidates in states like Minnesota and Wisconsin where they might be running state races, but fundamentally what they say and what they do becomes part of this national discussion. And I think increasingly that's been the case in our politics.
And Lonnie, both of those candidates to a degree, Francesca Hong and Mike the Pillow guy, not to the same extent, have essentially been caricatures, right? Or turned into caricatures for the other side and used on competing cable news networks as an example of the extremes of what the other side is and to try to define the other side.
Yeah, I mean, they've become avatars. There's no question about it. And then other candidates have to answer for what these people say, even if they may never have met them, they may not agree with them, they may think their ideas are completely wacky, but they're going to have to answer for questions around whether you think Thanksgiving should be canceled or whether you think there was a conspiracy around this, that, or the other. So I do think that is the challenge, is that it's more than just what these people do in these individual races. It's what they do to their respective parties and their respective political movements nationally. And I certainly think that both of these candidates have exhibited exactly the reason why, frankly, the other side would have been delighted to run again. Republicans would have loved to run against Francesca Hong in the same way Democrats probably wouldn't want to run against Mike Lindell.
And Mike Nellis, as we look at the numbers from Wisconsin, we are getting word that those USB drives have been processed, and those outstanding absentee ballots are coming in. And as we look at those numbers, that David Crowley's lead has gone up, which means I imagine that CNN and other networks are getting close to potentially calling this race for David Crowley. It's hard to see a path at this point for Francesca Hong to win this one.
Yeah, you would much rather be David Crowley in this moment. It just seems where the outstanding votes are going to be in his favor, and likely by the time we all wake up in the morning, although you guys might be on for a little bit while longer, I'm going to bed right after this, we're going to find out who the winner of this race has been. I sort of agree. I think this might be the best case scenario, though, for both the DSA wing of the party and the moderate wing of the party. I mean, I don't think it's fair to compare Francesca Hahn to Mike Lindell. I think she ran a very serious campaign that was centering the issues that people are feeling and the troubles that they're experiencing in Wisconsin. However, I think it's a very risky thing to put a candidate up who is that far to the left, who's sort of like fumbled on some big issues, including some small stuff like talking about whether or not Thanksgiving is a good holiday or a bad holiday, which was a pretty rough clip. You don't want to take that risk there, especially when she's running against Tom Tiffany, who is an election denier and is basically going to do whatever Donald Trump does. So I think this is the best case scenario. And I'll add one final thought here too, which is David Crowley is a huge progressive. Like, it's still a big win for the progressive wing of the party. I think we're elevating new generation of candidates, and maybe it's not exactly how you would have liked it to play out because the primary's been messy, but I think we're in a good spot and we'll be in a good position to win this race.
You're likely to learn a lot more about David Crowley in the next 24 hours. Mike Nellis, Lonnie Chen, thank you for being with us, and he's likely to get a whole lot of money coming in from his Democratic friends as well. We continue to follow results in Wisconsin, which right now look pretty good for David Crowley. The race still too close to call, but it may not stay that way for long. Stay with us.
It is the biggest upset in sports history.
It's what sport was all about.
Decades in Sports, Sunday at 9 on CNN, and next day on the CNN app.
In the movie of your life, you're the director. You write the script, and call the shots. You keep the story moving along. Hey, boom's in. Until one day, your doctor says, you have chronic lymphocytic leukemia. That wasn't part of the story. For CLL, my doctor recommended Calquence.
Calquence is the first and only BTKI to offer 2 approved all-oral chemo-free options: ongoing treatment with Calquence or fixed-duration treatment when combined with venetoclax. Calquence can cause serious side effects which may lead to death. This includes serious infections, bleeding problems that may increase with blood thinners, decreased blood counts, new cancers including skin cancers, heart rhythm problems, and liver problems. Tell your doctor right away if symptoms, blood and stool, or